Hey, welcome to another episode of The Journey Mindset. Had to think there for a minute. My mind is kind of all over the place today, but we're going to take a drive and we'll get going from there. Let's just kind of work with the time we have. I got a little setup in the truck. I'm not sure how it's going to work. Driving, I get out on the highway, it'd be a little smoother. So anyway, this would be, like I said, kind of a nice little experiment. Let's see if I can get through this Walmart parking lot without hitting somebody or getting hit by somebody. I don't know how anybody can get bored in retirement. Maybe it'll set in after a while, but I got so many projects on awaiting me and I'm trying to get working on that it just doesn't seem like I have much time to get anything done. I have another follow-up, not a follow-up, but another episode that I'm going to do right after this. Talking about a little more serious event that just happened in my family's life, and so that'll be posting, I don't know, soon after this one. I don't know if it's going to be today or when, but anyway, we've been talking about retirement and the fact that it's not as hard as what it might seem. Boy, this is a bumpy parking lot, and I'm hardly moving any speed here. Sometimes you watch these videos and they make it sound like you have to have $1 million or more to retire comfortably, and I just don't. It bother me. Either $1 million or at least $500,000. It's like, how in the world am I ever going to be able to retire, because I have nowhere near that. But as it turns out, my wife and I have been able to accumulate enough to where, at least according to our standard of living, we can afford to retire. So my wife's going to be continuing to work for a little bit. She's going to cut back on her hours, a few hours a week, kind of work her way into her part of retirement. And we'll see how that goes. Let's go over at least the three elements of preparing for retirement that we've talked about. I'm just going to mention them. You have the working. You have to work. That's kind of a no-brainer. Very obvious. You have to make money to save money. And that goes into the next one. You have to save. You have to start some sort of retirement, not just savings in the bank, and definitely not putting money in your mattress type philosophy. And then you have to do your best to avoid debt. And then this fourth element of preparing for retirement comes much more toward the end, obviously, is you may have to move. And that's not not super secret. That's just one of those facts of life that we have to grapple with. Your personal situation may be such that you've lived in the same place your entire life. You have a lot of family around. That you've raised your kids, and perhaps now even have your grandkids. A lot of people my age already have grandkids, but I started a little bit later in life, so grandkids are gonna wait a little bit. That's fine. all that to say is you have anchors where you're at. So the thought of moving is daunting, especially with the grandkids. Nothing is a stronger anchor than grandkids. So, but, and if you can stay, by all means, maybe there's an arrangement you and your kids can work out that helps you to stay where you're at, and that's fine. But my point is, it may come a time, depending on circumstances, where you might have to move. And it's not really an easy decision to make for me. It was more natural. The town I was living in before we moved where we're at now. I did have at one time a lot of family connections, but then family either passed away or they moved to different states, so kind of scattered all around. So for me, moving wasn't that big of a decision. I was raised as a Navy brat. My dad was a 20-year sailor, and so we moved around a lot there. I was in the Navy for 4 years, so I did some traveling there. Not a whole lot. I was only in for 4 years. I was stationed in 2 places: boot camp, my schooling, and then I was on the Constellation, USS Constellation, for the rest of my time. And then when I got out, I went back home for a little bit, and then I went to college, and then I moved another time for a job and for some kind of job training and all that. Won't go into all my details, but all that to say is that I'm used to moving, so picking up and relocating really isn't something that is difficult for me. But it may be more difficult for you. But if you do have to move, you may only have to move to an adjacent state. My sister and brother-in-law, one of those bears anyway, they currently living in California. They have a lot of family in Southern California and Northern California, and so they're thinking about, but they don't want to stay there when they retire, so they're thinking about Arizona, which miles-wise is about the same, from Northern California to Southern California, for instance, Arizona to Southern California. So you can think about stuff like that too. And but here's what I do. Is number one, I did some research on especially tax-friendly areas, some of the most tax-friendly states. So I'm not even going to talk about moving to foreign countries, because personally I have no desire to move out of the United States. There's different options as far as different states you can live in, and obviously, so I look for tax-friendly states, retiree-friendly states, that sort of thing. So you're having to deal with taxes, you're having to deal with things like housing. That's a big thing. Where we were, we could not have, we would have had to double our down payment, if not almost triple it, to be able to get just a basic place. So, we made the decision to relocate. Now, so I did some research, and of course, cost of living, housing costs, utility costs, and all that. And I was thinking Eastern Tennessee, but then one thing led to another. My in-laws live in Arkansas, and so they've been here for a while, for like over 25 years. So they have their roots sunk deeply in this area. So and we wanted to either have them near us or us be near them. And so I had to take that into consideration. My wife was, of course, all for moving closer to them. Environment, what kind of environment do you want to live in? Do you like a more dry climate? Do you like more woodsy? Do you like cold climates? That was kind of weird when I did that little research on the states that were retiree friendly, and I mean they were talking about Alaska and Montana and North Dakota, South Dakota, one of the Dakotas, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, I lived in Wisconsin and Michigan. I know what snow is like, and those places have a lot more snow than what I had to deal with, and so no. I like snow to a degree, but yeah, I'm not into it. We just had some snow here. We got about between 6 and 7 inches, and so we have a for in town, it's a decent sized driveway. It could go, I don't know, probably 3 cars deep, and so I had to get out there and shovel that thing off, and it was like, no, don't miss this. I kind of like it when it snows a few inches, and then in a couple days it's gone. So those were out. I'm not really crazy about heat and humidity, but depending on where you live, where I live right now, I used to live close to Memphis, and humidity there was pretty high. It seems like the lower elevations get a little more humidity. Here it'll get hot, and it does get humid, but when people start talking about how humid it is here, I'm thinking to myself, man, this really isn't that bad, folks. So you gotta take environment in. Now out here where we're at, there's a lot of country, and so there's a lot of places for outdoor activities, like hiking, camping, mountain biking, all of that. So there's plenty of opportunity for that. There's a couple of big lakes here, reservoir lakes, and so if you like fishing and water sports, there's all of that. So for me, that's great. Now you may want more of a metropolitan area. I can understand that, for especially having resources for medical resources, entertainment, fine dining, and all of that good stuff. For me, that wasn't a big deal. Medical was to a degree. That's what another thing I was thinking about. Johnson City, Tennessee. They had a big VA hospital, which would have served me, but then they had a big university campus there, university hospital. So medical care would have been better there, but we're in pretty good health, and the medical care here isn't that bad. Let's see, whatever. Yeah, so it's just areas like, you need to start doing your research, especially if you're, say, 5 years out. Just start researching, talking to your family. You may have to sit down with your kids, have a heart-to-heart, just say, look, we'd love to stay, but we're not going to be able to, and so it's time to head out. But that's all a personal thing. Really, this whole idea of moving, relocating, and all of that really is can be difficult for me. There's no looking back, man. There's people where I used to live, I love, I miss the ocean terribly, but I can always go visit sometime too, right? And get my fill, and then, because I don't know, I really love where I live. It's good. For me, may not all have all the bells and whistles of the place some places I've lived in the past, but it's got plenty. I'm happy. My wife is happy. We're able to be near her folks, to where as they're aging, we can take care of them. And so, it's all working out. It's all working out fine. So anyway, is your life journey is getting ready to go into a next chapter. Have that journey mindset that it's retirement is not the end; it's a new beginning. And even if it means that you might have to move, that you might have to downsize, whatever the case may be, just embrace it, make the best of it. In fact, focus on the benefits, the positive aspects of it, because there's always, I have found that no matter what station in life I have been in, I've always tried to focus on the positives, because there always are positive, even in snow country where it's winter from October till almost June. So there's always something good to focus on. So anyway, hope that's been beneficial. Keep that journey mindset and enjoy the journey. All right, have a good one. See ya.